Good afternoon, Dominicans, and welcome to another international webinar series for today. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of our guest speaker, Dr. Satya Mukdad, and our dean, Dr. Philip Perdomo. So today we will talk about the psychoneural analysis of mental health with our guest speaker from Indonesia. So without further ado, let us start the program with a short prayer, followed by the singing of the national anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Mga kababayan,
Again, good afternoon and welcome to our webinar for today. So to deliver his opening remarks, let us all welcome the Dean of the School of Arts, Sciences, and Education, Dr. Philip Perdomo.
Hello, good afternoon, and we're so blessed today since we have a speaker from India, Dr. Satya Mukdad. I'm virtually welcoming you here in the Philippines, and thank you for the positive response to our invitation. Of course, the purpose of this webinar is to give us a special lecture on topics related to psychology. And this is again our continuous commitment to our dear psychology students. And I hope that our psychology students will take down notes and will listen also to our speaker. I'm pretty much sure that our students are very excited. So on behalf of our President, Dr. Gregorio Adaman Jr. and our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Mariana Tiro, we are very grateful and thankful to Dr. Satya Mandal for the positive response. I hope we can have more collaborations in sharing your best practices with our students. Again, I'm welcoming you here in the Philippines virtually. Okay, thank you. So I'm giving now the floor to Ms. Melchizedek Maristana to introduce our guest speaker. Thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and I would like to introduce our resource speaker for today, Dr. Satya Mandal, who has been in the field of mind body medicine since a decade. So he is an expert of pulse electromagnetic therapy, low field magnetic stimulation therapy, mind therapy, psychotherapy, and energy medicine therapy. After completing the master journey in applied psychology and neurolinguistic programming, he started his service to help humanity in enhancing self-healing power for a positive life through workshops, seminars, counseling, and trainings. But this couldn't give much satisfaction to serve better. So he aimed his higher research in complementary and alternative medicines to develop holistic therapies. For this, Satya studied many specializations and finally he adopted some highly effective therapy approaches like PEMF, NFBT, CBT, NLPT, and etc., which are giving higher satisfaction and improvements to the clients suffering with the different chronic physical and mental issues. With the whole knowledge of his decades of research, he developed one unique therapy, which is the mind therapy, which is a combination of both psychology and complementary therapies. The prime specialty of this therapy is that the client can use it by sitting at their home. He is also a motivational speaker, NLP master trainer, mind power expert, life coach, and educator. To increase awareness and enhance positive well-being in society is the only motto which keeps him going more and more in this field. He is continuing his higher research in modern psychology as well as CAM for the advancement in mental health and physical health. He has been associated with many international organizations like APA or the American Psychological Association, American Union of NLP, Complementary Therapists Accredited Association, Natural Healing Academy, national organization like Integrated Medicine, Research Foundation, Alternative Medical Counseling, and Orissa Odisha, psychologyindia.com in India to avail all the effective resources for the betterment of human beings. He has been treating every type of chronic disease and psychological disorders by his innovative therapies. Many people around the globe have got immense benefits from his therapies, and his friendly gestures and warming personality have been a key for many clients. Without further ado, I would like to welcome you, Dr. Satya Mandal.
Thank you. A very good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible? Miss Melky, am I audible to you?
Yes, Dr.
Yes, Doc.
Okay. That was nice of you. You have given me the opportunities. I don't know whether my language could be understandable by your students or by your departments, because we Indians, we have the English language with Indian essence. So I will try my best to convey my message regarding this topic. And first of all, I would like to convey my heartfelt gratitude to all the coordinators, heads of the Department of Psychology, St. Dominic College of Asia, Philippines, and specifically the Dean and Miss Melky, and also I really convey my best wishes to the Bachelor of Science in Psychology students who are watching me live from India. So let us start the journey about our topic. I would like to request you to on the presenting mode so that I can. Thank you. First of all, I want to ask one question that my way of expression, my language is understandable or not to everybody.
Understandable, sir.
Understandable.
Very clear, very clear.
Okay. Thank you. That is nice of you. And one more thing, if you have any question, we have also an question answer session according to your curriculum. So don't worry for that. First of all, try to understand what I am trying to say, because I have presented thousands of seminars in different platforms till the coronavirus started till today. Since 1 year, I have approximately presented more than 500 webinars on different platforms to different organizations and different countries. That means what I am trying to convey here is my first message. So the topic for today's webinar is why to mind our mind. We all know about the mind. Then this is the psychoneural analysis. Why I am saying this is a psychoneural analysis, we will cover it in a later period, because mind science is another thing, psychological science is another part. But today in this webinar, in this 1 hour, we are going to cover a very vital point of every human being. That's why this is known as a psychoneural analysis of mental health. So you have got all my introduction. I am not covering all that part. I am Dr. Satyamandal from India. Let us see some global statistics, because as this is an international webinar, you should be aware of, as a psychological student, as a practitioner of mental health expert in future practitioner, you should know what are the global scenario in today's time, what are the global scenarios regarding the mental health. So first of all, according to some data, because we cannot get any recent data on mental health, because there is no much scope of research on day-to-day basis on the mental health issues. So whatever the data I have collected, all are past. You can add up to some extra numbers. So first of all over world, if we can take, then 970 million people are having some of mental health issues or substance abuse disorder. Globally, mental illness affects more females. That means 11.9% females are suffering compared to male percentage, that is 9.3%. The mortality rate of those with mental disorder is significantly higher than the general population. Its life expectancy losses about 10.1 years. That means if you are suffering with mental health, your age will decrease definitely compared to the general people. Another thing, it is estimated mental disorders are attributable to 14.3% of deaths worldwide. That means approximately 8 million deaths each year. So we can imagine, we can just think about what are the scenario. I am taking the data, I am reading in front of you, the data of 2015, 2018, but now we are in 2021, and since 1 year we have faces a very critical scenario which is out of our imagination, that is COVID-19 situation. So you can add some millions more to these numbers. If we talk about anxiety, then it's 284 million. You can add some extra million for this 1 year. If we can talk about depression, it's 264 million all over the world. If we can talk about alcohol abuse, it's 107 million. And we can talk about drugs abuse, that is 71 million. If we can talk about bipolar disorder, it's 46 million. Schizophrenia, it's 20 million. Eating disorder, it's 16 million. And the list goes on and on. We can never count, we can never end all the mental health illness and its statistics from all over the world. So, if we can talk about some specific countries, let's see what are the stats in America. 1 in 5 Americans will experience a mental illness in a given year. 1 in 5. 1 in 25 Americans with serious mental illness. It means they're suffering with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depression. 1 in 25, and 1, if we can talk about the common scenario, then it's 1 in 5 in USA. If we will talk about London, then it's 1 in 4. That means 1 in 4 people are suffering with any of mental illness, and if we are talking about the serious mental illness, then it's 1 in 6 people. If we will talk about Canada, then it's 1 in 5. And in Canada, every stage of people, whether they are rich, they are poor, they are highly educated, they are low educated, it does not depend when it comes about mental health illness. Approximately 8% of adults will experience major depression at some of their life in Canada. If you will talk about my country, that's India, over 90 million Indians. It's not 90 billions. If we can talk about in 2021, it's more than 100 million people are affected. Because I have seen many cases, 1 in 3, 1 in 4 people are suffering with some of mental illness. Now, let's talk about your country, that's Philippines. I have got some astonishing fact regarding Philippines from Google. Mental illness is the 3rd most common disability in Philippines. Around 6 million Filipinos are estimated to live with depression and or anxiety. That's not a small figure. Philippines is the country with the 3rd highest rate of mental health problems in Western Pacific region. That is also an astonishing fact for all of you and for all of us also. So these are some scenarios I have taken into consideration about some of our country. But if we discuss about globally, then it's very devastating. It's very saddening factor to all of us, because mental health is a major concern in today's time, in today's life. Now the big question is why mental health is on alarming state today. Why it is increasing, why we cannot control about the mental health illness, why we could not able to live a mental healthy life. For this answer, we have to discuss about some parameters, some factors affecting the mental health. The first factor is lack of awareness. Yes, I think according to some data, since many years of my hard research in the field of psychology, in the field of mental health, I got to know that maximum people, more than 80-90% people are not aware of what mental health is, because we all know about the physical health very well, but when it comes about mental health, we do not know how we react, how we can adopt the processes, how to cope with. So a lack of awareness is the major factor when it comes on mental health issues. Next point, social stigma. This is in every country. Social stigma we have in every country. If we are suffering from any disease or any mental health, specifically mental health illness, if we are mentally ill, then we are not ready to talk to someone, we are not ready to go to a psychologist, we are not ready to go to a psychiatrist because of social stigma. What other people will say, what other people will think. That's the major issue. That's a prime factor also which is affecting our mental health very much. If we talk about the next point, that is shortage of mental health professionals. If we can compare the mental health illness patient, mentally ill people, percentage of mentally ill people, and to deal with the mental health problems, we have very shortage of workforce. We have very shortage of mental health professionals in every country. This is also another factor for rising the mental health illness. Next thing is education, mental health education. From the childhood, from the very beginning, we are entering into the education system, the mainstream education system in every country, starting from our at the age of 3 or 5. But whether the syllabus we are covering, there is a lack of psychology syllabus. There is a heavy lack of psychology. I think mental health education, psychological education should be compulsory, should made the compulsory subject as a compulsory subject from the very beginning of a student life, so that we can get some changing figures. Next factor, if we can discuss about the mainstream medical treatment system. Till today, we are on the high rise of mental health illness, but till today, in many countries, in maximum countries, there is no mainstream psychological therapeutic approaches or psychological treatment system, which we are going to discuss in today's factor, in today's webinar. There is a lack of that part in our mainstream medical system. So, if you will see, these 5 factors are very much responsible for the increasing of mental health illness in every country. Lack of awareness, social stigma, lack of mental health professionals, lack of education, mental health education, and lack of the treatment. The mainstream treatment is not able to handle a lack of psychological therapeutic approaches. So these are the 5 factors, vital factors, which are responsible for mental health illness. If we see the true facts, what we are doing today in 21st century, in 2021, what we are doing, what we have changed since 2-3 years back, mental health awareness is increasing. We can say it's increased already, because somewhere in the society, in the school and colleges, in the government systems, and in the marketplace also, we have increased our awareness regarding the mental health issues since 1 or 2 years. We are ready, or we also break the social stigma in many cases. We are open up. We are ready to talk to a psychologist. We are ready to talk to a psychiatrist, to visit a mental health clinic, despite of having all the blames and criticism behind us. So we are breaking the social stigma. Nowadays, many students, if we can compare 10 years or 20 years back, then there was no talk about the psychologist or psychological specification. But nowadays, students are more curious to learn psychology. Professionals are more curious to learn about mental health. So this is also a vital factor. So the number of mental health professionals are increasing day by day in every country. Next, health and education. Yes, there are also some parts of our curriculum in graduation level, in education level, there is a compulsory subject regarding mental health or psychology. So that is also a good news for everyone. That means in previous slide, in previous discussion, we have discussed about 5 vital factors. What are we are lacking, but here we are increased. Our awareness is increased. We are breaking the social stigma, and the number of mental health professionals are increasing, and the health and education embedded the psychological facts also, and regarding the mental health issues. Everyone is reading, everyone is curious to learn about the mental health, but still, the number of mental health cases are increasing in a very high rate. We are not able to stop it anyway. Day by day, its number is just increasing. Then why? The big question again, why? To know this fact, let us discuss the root causes for which mental health illness starts. Here we can say, what are the root causes, root issues for any mental health problems? The first factor is genetics. If in your family, in your parents, your grandparents, whether it may be your maternal or your parental, if anyone was affected in past with severe mental illness, then it has a higher chances, it has a probability that you may get infected. That means somewhere genetics has some impact regarding mental health illness. The next root cause is accidental. If you face any severe accident and it damages your brain portion, you are hurt by your head, a brain injury, then there is some possibility that you may get mentally ill after recovering from the accident. High dose of chemicals, high dose of medicines, modern medicines, this is also a vital factor. We are seeing many patients suffering with depression, anxiety, bipolar due to the heavy uses of allopathic medicines for some other problem. So this is also another reason to create your mental illness. Next part is emotional trauma. If you are emotionally shocked or you have faced any emotional traumatic experience since a few months, a few years in the past, then there is a chance, there is a possibility you will suffer with some form of mental illness. Next, our thought pattern. That means if our thought pattern is wrong, if our thought pattern is negative, then there is also a possibility you will suffer with some form of mental illness. So here we are discussing about 5 root causes of any mental health problems. Any mental issues start with these 5 root causes. Number 1 is genetics. Number 2 is accidental case. Number 3 is overdose of any types of drugs, whether it's medicine, whether it's chemicals, whether you are taking any drugs. Overdose may create you to suffer any form of mental illness. Next part is emotional trauma, and the last part is our wrong thought pattern. So these are the 5 reasons, basic reasons, prime reasons, vital reasons which are creating mental health problems in anybody. Let us discuss about the percentage. If we see accident, genetic and drugs contribute to 10 to 20% only. That means whatever the mental health problems, whatever the mental issues are increasing in our society, these 3 factors have only contribution of 10 to 20%. Means 10 to 20% cases. In 10 to 20% cases, we are seeing the root causes either accident, genetics or drugs, overdose of medicines. But when it comes to emotional issues and thought pattern, it is contributing 80 to 90%. Carefully listen my words and try to understand what I am trying to say you, what I am trying to show you here. 80 to 90% cases, the contributing factors are emotional issues and thought pattern. But problem is, modern medical system could not fully able to handle these 80 to 90% factors. This is one prime reason for which in every country the rates of mental health problems is highly increasing day by day. Whatever the processes, whatever the approaches, whatever the systems we are adopting, but we are not able to stop it, we are not able to decrease it. So that's the problem, because we are dealing with 10 to 20% cases in maximum time. We are neglecting 80 to 90% factors in maximum cases, because we don't know how to deal with. We don't know the processes. So what we are lacking, what we are missing is clearly body-mind link. What is the topic for today's seminar? Mind your mind. Means we are linking something, we are missing something here. Actually, in the modern medical system, we are missing this link, body-mind link. Here, the question may comes to your mind, to all of your mind, that we are dealing with body-mind. Yes, somewhere we are dealing with body and mind, but let us discuss in detail, both biologically and psychologically and neurologically. These three ways we will discuss today. Common scenarios. What are common scenarios? When we say that the person is mentally ill, there is no device to measure or to check your mental illness. There is no MRI, there is no CT scan, there is no X-ray machine, there is no blood test which can define your level of depression, which can define your schizophrenia, which can define your bipolar disorder. But yet, we are diagnosing as he is suffering on schizophrenia, he is suffering on bipolar disorder. Then on what basis? The basis of psychological testing. The basis of symptoms. Yes. But what are the common scenario? You may all know, as a psychology student, you may all know when a people suffer from any mental illness, that means there are some imbalance in some hormones. The first hormone is thyroid. Whenever any patient come to our clinic, we recommend to do a thyroid test. That is the first duty every psychologist, every psychiatrist, every clinical psychologist do, because in thyroid, T3 and T4 hormones, T3 has the major role. So we should measure, or we must see the T3 level. If it increases or decreases, it will destroy your mental health. The first, thyroid. Next is serotonin. It is also responsible for your depression, anxiety. Next is adrenal hormones. It is also responsible for anxiety, depression, insomnia, if any imbalance occurred. Dopamine, you all are acquainted. I hope you all are acquainted with these terms, these hormones. Dopamine, it is also very much a contributing hormone to mental health. Oxytocin, it is also responsible for autism, schizophrenia, mood disorder, anxiety disorder. Endorphins, it is also responsible for depression, anxiety. What I am trying to say here, I am trying to just show you that these are the main hormones which are occurring mental health. That means if you have a low level of hormone, specifically these hormones with low level or high level, you will suffer with some form of mental health illness. When any patient go to a psychiatrist, visit a psychiatrist for his or her problem, if they are recommending any test, that means they are trying to test the hormonal level. They are not getting into the last two factors which are contributing in 80 to 90%, that is emotional trauma or thought pattern. We are measuring the hormonal level, how much percentage the dopamine he or she has, how much percentage the serotonin level he or she has, how much T3 has. So we are measuring the hormonal level to measure the problems, specifically mental health illness. This is the biological approach or medical treatment approach. Let us see biological pathways, how it works. When we receive any senses from the outer world through our 5 sense organs, then first, as a psychology students, you should know the stimuli create. So these stimuli are transmitted through neurotransmitter to the neurons, because neurons are information collecting cells. So to collect this information from our 5 sense organ and to reach at the neuron, it has a major role between the sense organ or stimulus and neuron, that is neurotransmitters. This is a major role because whatever the name we have discussed just before this slide, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, these all are nothing but the neurotransmitters. So when information reaches at neurons, the neuron cell transfers it to brain cells. From brain cells, it goes to our nervous system and nervous system to our body. So this is the biological pathways through which our day by day, our living, our all the regulatory functions, our respiratory systems, the blood circulation system, these are working. That means a human is functioning, human body is functioning through these biological pathways. When the stimulus create, it is transmitted through neurotransmitters to the neurons. And from neurons, it is collected by the brain cells, and brain cells, the information goes to nervous system. Accordingly, nervous system functions. This is the biological pathways. That means we have connection between brain and body through neurotransmitters, hormones, and chemicals. And as I told before, that neurotransmitters has direct connection with the stimulus or with the senses we are creating, we are receiving, we are perceiving from the outer environment. These are some important neurotransmitters, as you know: ACH, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, glutamate. If you have any imbalance on these neurotransmitters, then you have high probability that you will suffer in any form of mental health illness. What I am trying to say here is that neurotransmitter has major role to decide whether you are mentally fit or mentally ill. So when it comes to the imbalance in any neurotransmitter, how we are dealing with, we are going for the medication. Yes, that's the right approach. No problem, no issues at all. We can handle, we can create the balance, whether it balances in imbalances in dopamine or serotonin, we can balance it by applying some chemicals, antidepressant medicines, antipsychotic medicines. We can handle it, we can normalize it. Okay, let's come to our discussion, psychoneural analysis. We have discussed the beautiful biological pathways. Now see, what is psychoneural path? When same thing we are receiving, we are perceiving our senses, a stimulus through 5 sense organ, what happens first? Compare this slide with the previous slide. According to biological pathways, when we perceive the stimulus, it transmitted to the neurons directly through neurotransmitter. But according to psychoneural analysis, when we perceive any stimuli, when we sense any senses, it first creates our thought. These thoughts create our feelings and emotions. Carefully watch this. These feelings and emotions creates our mind, this memory part. we memorize our feelings, we memorize our emotions. Someone has hurt you since many years back, but still you feel that hurt, you feel that criticism, you feel that blame, you can. How? Because it's in our memory. So, when any stimulus, hot stimulus occur, your thought create, you feel that, you create your emotions as a hot and you store it in your memory. That memory creates your mind. When the information reaches at mind cells, this is transmitted into neurons through neurotransmitter. And again, this is to brain cell, and again, this is to nervous system. So, if you can compare this part with the previous part, biological pathways, that means what we are missing, the link between thought, feelings, memory, and mind. These four things we are missing in the biological pathways. So here the question, why modern medical system fails? Due to we are dealing with this path, stimulus to neurotransmitter. Yes, if any imbalance occurred in neurotransmitter, then there is a high probability that you will suffer with any types of mental illness. But how many cases, in how many percentage of factors, that also depends on the present scenario. Because 10 to 20% cases, in 10 to 20% cases, the responsible factor is genetics, accidental, and the other factors, emotional trauma and the thought pattern we are not dealing with. Stimulus can create our thought, we are missing this part. We know when we receive any stimulus, it is fluctuating our neurotransmitter, that's true. But what we are missing here, we are missing the link between the stimulus and our thought. Again, try one more time, that is 5 sense organ, thoughts feelings creates memory, mind, the information from mind cell to neuron transferred by neurotransmitter. In this slide, what I am trying to say is, that means 5 sense organs, stimulus and thought has directly linked with neurotransmitter. See, our thought has vital impact, or our thought has the capability to alter neurotransmitter. What I am saying is clear here. If we can analyze the biological pathways compared to psychoneural pathways, the process is same, but we are missing the parameters of thought, feelings and emotions, memory and mind. These 4 parameters we are missing in biological pathways. And in maximum cases, we are not dealing with that cases. We are not dealing with that factors. We are dealing with the imbalance in hormonal level or neurotransmitter level. We are measuring the dopamine. We are measuring the serotonin. We are not measuring the thoughts. We are not conscious about the thought pattern, the belief system, the emotions. That's the problem. Maybe we do not know that our thought can alter neurotransmitter at every second. Every thought has the power to alter neurotransmitter. That means we are totally not acknowledging these facts that neurotransmitters can create our feelings, alter our thoughts, behaviors, and it also create our anxiety, stress, worry, frustration. So, if you can thought positive, if you can thought high, if you can thought peaceful thought, then these neurotransmitters will work for the benefits of you. These neurotransmitters will give you energy, alertness, concentration, attention, motivation. But if your thought is negative, your thought is low, then these neurotransmitters again work against you. That means you can feel anxiety, you can feel irritability, your mood swing can occur. You can suffer with depression. You can suffer with anxiety, OCD. So see, our thought has direct impact on neurotransmitter. If our thought can alter neurotransmitter, then it can also alter our mental health definitely. Because we see in the biological pathways and we also see in the neuropsychoneural pathways that neurotransmitter has a role in both the cases. Because this is a common path. There is no other path through which our life is going. What our mistake is? We are not awareing our thought. We are not conscious about what the thought process, what the thought pattern, what the thought system works, how our thought system, how our thought pattern is creating. How we create our thought, we don't know in maximum cases. Next thing, I have seen in my professional life, this is a major point. When people suffer with any mental health problems, that means you are suffering with depression or anxiety. At first, they are going for do a MRI, do a CT scan, because some doctors recommended them. Because when you will suffer with depression or anxiety or mood swing, you will feel the headache, you will feel anger, you will feel irritability. There may also be some symptoms in physical, you can feel the pain in some part of your body. So they are recommending to do a test. Whether, is there any test? Is it possible to measure your depression by any MRI or a CT scan? That's not possible. That's all hypothetical. We cannot do a MRI or CT scan for diagnosing a depression or anxiety. Next part is, we are more depending on the drugs, medicines. Yes, if it is the case of accident, if it is the case of hormonal imbalance due to your genetic problems, any high dose of chemicals, then medicines may work. But if your mental health problem starts due to your emotional trauma, due to your wrong thought pattern, then which medicine will alter your thoughts? Which medicine has the power, has the capability to change your thought pattern? Is it possible? No way. Last point, after all, if you are fully aware that, fully conscious that these all the possible ways, all the traditional ways will not work for me, then you have to adopt some new approaches, but we are not ready for that. Here I will want to give one example. If you are suffering from insomnia, sleeping problem, I will recommend you do a mindfulness meditation for half an hour daily. That's the approach, perfect approach. But what we will say? Half an hour daily? Not possible, sir. Because we have a shortcut. What is the shortcut? Take one sleeping pill. It just take 1 second, less than 1 second to chew it. Just swallow the sleeping tablet and sleep. That's the easiest way. So, despite having a easiest way, having a shortest path, why we will go for the longest path? Why we will invest half an hour, 30 minutes for mindfulness meditation? And there is also no certainty how many days it will take to get me a deep sleep. So these are the mentality we have created already, for which we are suffering deeply. These are the problems part. Now, moving towards the solution, what we can do. So, what we are searching here? We are searching for mental health. We want all to be mentally healthy. We want all mental fitness. So, to live mentally healthy, you have to live a mental illness free life. What we need? If you really want to be fit mentally, then you have to get all the mental faculties strong. All the mental faculties must be strong. Mental faculties means it may be your perception, it may be your judgment, it may be your intuition, it may be your understanding, it may be your willpower. These are some mental faculties. So, to be mentally fit, you must have strong mental faculties. How can we get strong mental faculties? If you have strong mind. Otherwise, it is not possible. If you have strong mind, then you must have, you can create, you can build your mental faculty strong. To have a beautiful mind, to have a strong mind, we must have clear neural pathways. Again, we move back to the neuron transmitter and neuron path. We need to have a clear neural pathways which can give us the strong mind, because clear, when I am talking about the clear neural pathways, means there will be no imbalance in any neurotransmitters. So, to get that, we need our emotion and feeling strong, positive and happy. With negative emotions, with negative feelings, we cannot create a clear neural pathways. That's imaginary concept. And to have good feelings, to have positive emotions, we cannot take any negative thought, because negative thought cannot create any positive feelings. So that means we need positive thoughts. How can we get positive thoughts? That means we must be aware, we must conscious about our stimuli. As a psychology students, you must know about the stimuli, the 5 sense organ, the sensation which we are perceiving from the outer world. So we should be aware of, we should be conscious about all our stimuli to get our thought positive. Now, from these 6 parameters, what we can control, what are not in our control. Let's see which is not in our control. Stimuli. At any moment, what we will see, what we will hear, what we will touch in the outside world, means what we will perceive from the outside world, we cannot control that. You are ready for the office, you have college, you are coming to college, you are entering into the college, your friend has some beautiful phrases, some beautiful lovely messages for you, and he told you, you feel good. Next day, same friend at the entering of your college said some bad things, bad words to you. You feel depressed, your mood is up suddenly. Why? Because you cannot control your friend's words, but you can control, you could control your thoughts. He said some beautiful words, you feel good. He said some bad words, you feel very bad. Your mood is up. That means there is no control of the outer factors. There is no control of the stimulus. At what time, at when, what we see, what we speak, what we hear, that are not in our control. Mental illness. When you will suffer, if you are suffering with any mental illness, you cannot control that part. Neurotransmitter level. You cannot control neurotransmitter level directly. Neural pathways, you cannot control. So, these factors are not in our control. We cannot balance automatically the neurotransmitter. We cannot clear the neural pathways. We cannot create the mental illness. We cannot control the outer stimulus. But what we can control? 6 mental faculties we can definitely control. We can change our perception. We can increase our understanding. We can conscious about our judgment. Definitely can. Mind, yes, we can change our mind. We can create our mind. Feelings and emotions, yes, this is also in our control. We can control our emotions and feelings. When, what we feel, what we will feel, we can control definitely. Thought, yes, we can control that. Here I will give one example. Let us, outside my chamber, there is some noise. From the morning, I told them by sending someone that I have a seminar. So, just close your sounds, close your noise today. 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, repeatedly I request them, but they do not listen to my word. So I am getting irritated. From the morning, I am getting irritated because I have a seminar. I need a peaceful place, but the background music, background sound is disturbing me. So when I was thinking about that sound, it was irritating. It was creating frustration in me. I could not able to concentrate in my work, in my presentation. But they are not listening. Can I control them? Can I stop them? No way. I can only request them, but they are not responding to my request. So here, two paths. Either I will stop my presentation, I will stop my webinar, yeah, getting frustrated. Yeah, I will shift my thought. So, not my control is the outer factor, but yes, definitely I can control my thought. So, I change my thought. Let's do this session with that background music for today. Let them enjoy their noise. I will enjoy their noise as my background music. So, I change my thought. It gives me the boost. My frustration was relaxed. So, just changing one thought, creating a peaceful and harmonious environment. So, this is the example. You can apply these techniques at every stage of your life and feel the difference. If I was thinking about that noise, I am creating frustration, I am creating anger within myself. What to do? Can I control them? Not at all. Can I stop them? Not at all. Then why I am thinking about that? What I will focus? What I can control? What I can control? My thought. Simple. I change my thought. I just think that was my background music for today. God has given that. So let us enjoy that music. So this changes my mood. That means it makes my neurotransmitter balanced. So this is the way we can change what are in our control. But maximum time we are focusing about what we are not control. So think positive. If you can think positively, then definitely we can create our emotions and feelings positive. With positive emotions and feelings, we can make our mental faculties very strong. And with strong mental faculties, you will definitely have a strong mind. And when your mind is strong, nothing can destroy your mental health. Nothing can causes you mentally ill. Never. So, what is the solution? Because time is running out. What is the solution? What you can do to get these paths, to get these mental pathways, psychoneural pathways adapt to your life? What you can do? You can do mental diet training. You can do mindfulness practice. You can do mind programming. You can do self-transformation. These are 4 approaches which can you adopt in your life as a professional or in your personal life. Because if it is the case of mental health issues, then no medicines, no medical treatment can help you. Why I am telling it? Why I can assure you? Because I have discussed the pathways. We are dealing with sense to neurotransmitter pathways. But we are not dealing with the 80-90% contributing factors. That is 5 sense stimulus creating the thoughts, and thought has direct role with the neurotransmitters. So whenever you perceive any stimulus, it will first create your thought. It will never directly goes into your neurons. It will create your thought, feelings. There is a process. We should understand about it. So to understand and implement it in your life, whether it may be your personal life or professional life, these 4 things are must needed: mental diet training, mindfulness, self-transformation, and mind programming. But the problem is, these 4 approaches are not in any mainstream education, not in any modern medical system or mainstream medical system, treatment system. So the rate is increasing day by day. What is the first question that the question I have raised about why the mental health is an alarming state today? So it's time to mind your mind, otherwise your mind will never mind for you. That's why the theme of the webinar was mind your mind. Why to mind your mind? If you can connect with me, then connect. This is my connect details. You can connect through me to take more about the mental diet, mind programming, self transformation, and mindfulness, because I have specialized these four things since many years. I have conducting many seminars, workshops, and certification courses on these four factors, because there is no university, no educational organization can teach you. Thank you everyone for listening such a long time. I have already crossed my 15 minutes of my scheduled time. So I am ready for the question answer session. Thank you, Melchior, and thank you, the Dean sir. I am over to Melchior. If any question.
Thank you for that in-depth discussion on the psychoneural basis of mental health, Dr. Mandal. I'm sure all of our students have learned a lot from this topic. And now we will move forward with our open forum. So I guess we can accommodate 5 questions, Dr. Mandal. Is that all right?
Yes, I have one question from Angela Polzenico. Can you tell us more about mental diet? Definitely, I will be happy to elaborate the mental diet process. You can connect my profile, trainyourmind.com, whether I am going to conduct a national level workshop in next month, that is starting from April 17 on mental diet training. Mental diet means daily, at every moment, at every second, what we are eating physically, we are conscious about that. We are not taking any spicy food, we are not taking any oily foods, because we know what are important for our physical body. But we are more conscious about the body. What about mind? What's its food? We are not totally aware about the food of mind. So in mental diet training, we generally teach the techniques and tools how and what to feed your mind, so that you can get a very good health physically, mentally, and emotionally. And also the one more benefit, vital benefit of mental diet training is you can attract any positive things in your life. It may be your prosperity, it may be your job, it may be your personality, it may be your career. How does one practice controlling their thoughts and their mind after dealing with trauma, especially if they cannot afford to get help from a mental health professional? A very, very beautiful question, because maximum mental health professionals, let us discuss about psychologically. You are studying in BSc psychology, and after that you can study the master in psychology. In clinical psychology, we have trained in many psychological testing. Tell me one thing. One patient comes to my clinic. Now, I will conduct a test about the depression. He clicks some answers. I measure the ranking, measure the score, and tell him that you are in a severe depression. After few days, after a day after tomorrow, again he will come. And again, I will repeat that test. Is there any possibility, is there any guarantee that he will click that answer? He will click that options? Never. Because when I was studying clinical psychology, I consciously, in my knowledge, I have done many things experimentally to show the professor that these testings are not ethical. We cannot measure perfectly. Yes, we can measure somehow. So mental health professionals may have very low scope, very narrow scope to deal with that. But what your question is, how to control your practice controlling their thought and emotions? That is definitely one thing, mindfulness. Mindfulness can certainly help you. That is the thing which you can adopt. And nowadays, mindfulness is a very famous approaches between all the psychologists and clinical psychologists. So you can do that with mindfulness techniques only. Any more question?
We have one more question, Doc Mandal.
Mindfulness meditation, a way to break a thought cycle. How do we execute meditation properly? Does it vary from a person to person? It's done subjectively. Yes, definitely. A meditation approach means meditation definition. I would like to say it's a MEDI plus TA plus TION. If you can combine this, MEDI plus TA plus action, that means meditation is a medium of thought awareness in action. Your thought awareness will increase. So it depends on the person. It depends on the perception of the person. So it definitely differ from person to person when it comes to meditation. And for executing meditation properly, there is no perfect way. You should not search any proper way for doing meditation. You just focus on breathing. That is a meditation. You just focus on your eating. That is a meditation. You just focus on your single thought at this moment, what you are thinking, what you are acting, what you are perceiving. This is also a meditation. So meditation has no perfect form.
All right. Do we have other questions from the group? Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Mandal, for taking the time to answer our students' questions. And now, let me just share my screen. And now, to show our appreciation and gratitude for your time and expertise, allow me to read the citation of the certificate. St. Dominic College of Asia, School of Arts, Sciences, and Education, Department of Psychology. The certificate of appreciation is awarded to Dr. Satya Mandal for sharing your valuable time and expertise as a speaker in the Psychology International Webinar Series entitled Why to Mind Our Mind, a Psychoneural Analysis of Mental Health, given this 19th day of March 2021 at St. Dominic College of Asia, Bacoor City, Province of Cavite, Philippines, signed by yours truly, Kimberly Joanna David, Internship Coordinator, and Dr. Philip Cordova Quizon, Chair, Psychology Department, and the Dean of the School of Arts, Sciences, and Education, and our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Mary Nelly Piroa. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Mandal, for this webinar. And we hope to see you again soon for more collaboration. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to formally close our program today, let us all welcome Professor Jerry Catiliano, our NSTP coordinator, for his closing remarks, to be followed by the singing of the STCA hymn.
On behalf of our dear President, Dr. Gregorio A. Andaman Jr., and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Marinelli P. Roa, we are congratulating and extending our salutations and gratitude to Dr. Satya Mandal for sharing your time and expertise with our psychology students. Hope that we can still invite you in our future activities with the psychology program. It is true that we need to mind our mind. We are facing a pandemic and it is vital activity to check where we are now in terms of our mental activities. We may encounter anxiety at this time of crisis, but at the end of the day, we can still have this option to choose optimistically and be guided with our positive mind. The webinar today inspire our students to be optimistic in life at this time of crisis. And with that, we hope that the webinar today can facilitate active learning, both mind and the heart. Again, with the highest salutations and gratitude, Dhanyavad, Dr. Mandal, for sharing your time with us virtually. Maraming
Excuse me.
salamat. Magandang hapon.
Okay. So that formally ends our program for today, but please stay on the Google Meet for the singing of our SDCA hymn.
Still as the clouds sing, with joyful hearts we bring love and mission that everyone knows of. Future of excellence and goals to reach our dreams with unity and favor we cherish forever. Our matter you guide us towards the truth that every one of us has to go through. Teach us where your love and for us to be and with joy, pride, and zest, grace and challenge, with character and will, ours is gratitude for our fortitude. We live in solid gravity, uplifting dignity. Our master, you guide us towards the truth that every one of us has to go through. Teach us with your love and for us to be one and has to go through. Teach us with your love and for us to be holy and great. Lord,
So kindly turn on your cameras, please, for the photo opportunity. So first, batch, okay, smile, 1, 2, 3. Okay, next batch, please. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, right. Dean, we're done with the photo taking.
Alright, so that would end our international webinar today. Dr. Satya, thank you so much. Okay, we hope to see you again this coming, I guess, Friday next week for our Masters of Arts and Psychology student. We are very lucky, we are very grateful to have you today. And again, thank you. Thank you, Maristela, for introducing Dr. Satya with us. Okay, so guys, have a nice day. Okay, bye-bye. Keep yourselves free from COVID. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mandal.
Thank you, Doc Mandal. Thank you, Doc Peng.
Bye-bye.